Welcome to Seneca Studios Fall Gallery Night with the Fort Worth Art Dealers Association. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
If this is your first time with us, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. We're going to be live streaming on Facebook and YouTube for about 3 hours today. But we're also doing these events in person now, so if you would like to come by in person and watch, please do. We are located in Fort Worth, Texas on Magnolia Avenue. So we're going to broadcast live for a little bit. I am going to hang out with you guys in the hot shop. We're going to watch for a little while, and then we're going to interview Elena, our resident artist, in the gallery in a little bit. So stay tuned. This stream is interactive, so if you'd like to ask Elena any questions, feel free to do so in the chat below. If you have any questions for any of us or our staff, feel free to do that as well. And I can pass on any questions you might have. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for joining us today. So Elena's been working on these really beautiful forms. You can see the team and her making these little cookies. And then they're stacking them. So some of you have been in our live streams before, and some of you haven't. But I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the Hot Shop studio. We gather glass from this furnace, which sits at about 2100 degrees pretty much all the time. You can see that when the glass comes out of the furnace, it's pretty nice and toasty, glowy. At this state, it is super similar to hot honey or really sticky taffy. And so we can roll it on the table called a marber. We can shape it, manipulate it at that temperature. So our team is working with Elena to transfer this piece. Elena is adding a little bit of water. And then they're going to transfer the piece to the other rod. So we use these reheating chambers to reheat the glass as we're working, so that we can continue to work the glass and change its shape. So you guys, as you're watching tonight, let us know if you have any questions. We know that this process, some of you might already be familiar with, but some of you might not. And we're always happy to share information with you. So one of the cool things about this residency program is that Elena has not actually worked with hot glass before. She started working with us a few months ago, and she had no glass experience. And through this residency program, we were able to introduce her to glass. She's actually a painter and a 2D artist. And she used to take glass forms and then make drawings and paintings looking through the glass forms. So now she's actually getting a chance to shape the glass and manipulate the glass hot with the team, which is pretty cool. So Clifton's gathering out of our furnace. The glass is pretty much liquid in here all the time. So we keep this furnace at about 2100 degrees. And you can see that when it comes out of the furnace, it's pretty gooey. So Clifton's gonna drop a little blob of glass onto the marver, which is basically a steel table. And then Elena's gonna pick those up and add them to her form. So glass artists use a variety of tools to shape the glass. It's pretty hot, so we can't really put our hands right on the material. So we use a bunch of different tools to shape the glass as we're working. I'm gonna be right behind you, Clifton. So Clifton's gathering up some more glass. He's gonna drop a couple of little cookies like we saw earlier on the marver again. You can see as the glass is hot, it's basically dripping and moving. We can squish it, we can cut it. And then Elena's gonna pick up all those tiny little cookies. That looks great.
Good job, good shot. We all agree.
And then in order to keep the glass hot, she's gonna reheat it in a reheating chamber. So I just want to remind you guys that Elena hasn't actually worked with glass very much before she joined us. The way in which she worked with glass was collecting bottle glass or already made glass objects, and she would look through them with light and draw and paint them. And so Seneca has developed this program to bring glass to artists who haven't had the chance to work with glass before. So this artist in residency program is pretty new. If you are a local artist and you would like to apply, we do have applications open at the moment for this program. So feel free to go to our website, check out artist opportunities, and go ahead and apply. assemble that stack, we're gonna try to even out all the heat in the piece. Keeping the glass temperature even is really important so that we don't get anything like cracking or different heat in various parts of the piece. So Elena is heating the piece up in the reheating chamber to keep everything kind of even. And then this piece is pretty sculptural, so we're going to notice that Elena is not going to be turning very consistently. She is sculpting it, and sculpting tends to, for those of you who have watched our live streams before, we talk about turning being really important. So for sculpting, we're kind of flipping the piece over as needed versus consistently turning. So for now, we are working on a number of different pieces tonight. I believe there might be some sketches, and we'll talk to Elena in a little bit, and she'll probably talk about what she's making tonight. So you guys, Heidi was kind enough to put the link for artist opportunities in the chat. So if you are a local artist and you want to join us in this program, please feel free to check out that link and reach out if you guys have any questions. I know there are probably some artists watching who are probably interested in participating. So once again, Elena hadn't worked with hot glass before this program, not at least to my knowledge. So this program is really designed for artists who have not worked with glass before and who are interested in doing so. So we should be live streaming for about 3 hours tonight. If you guys have any questions or are curious about anything, please put your comment down in the chat. We can try our best to answer them during the live stream or after the live stream. And if you're local, feel free to join us tonight. Tonight is gallery night for the Fort Worth Art Dealers Association, and we are going to be demonstrating until 9 p.m. So if you live in Fort Worth or close by in the DFW area, feel free to stop by and come by and hang out. We've got the bleachers out. People are hanging out and coming by. It's kind of a nice day to be out today. So once an artist is done with the piece, their next step is to take it off of the steel rod that they're working on. So you can see Elena is using the diamond shears. She's kind of crimping down the connection between the glass and the steel rod. And that's going to allow us to break the glass free from the steel puntee. So Kevin is doing a little bit of final reheating of the glass. Uh-oh. We're gonna blast it. So once the piece is ready, we add a little bit of water to the connection. You can see that Blake is gloved up and he's got a face mask on so that he can put this piece away. So we're adding a little bit of water. And then once it knocks off, they then fire polish the knockoff point.
Do you need more propane? Are we running out? Good? We're good.
And then the piece goes into the annealer, which allows the glass to cool down really slow. So glass has got to cool down slowly to room temperature so that it doesn't crack. Nice job, Elena. So we're going to give Elena a chance to cool off. If you are local, feel free to come by. We are streaming and demoing until 9 p.m. tonight. Heidi has put a link in the chat for the FWADA Fall Gallery Night brochure if you want to check out what else is going on tonight. But feel free to come out, hang out. If you'd like to see some glass blowing demonstrations. And then Elena has some work in the gallery as well tonight, so feel free to come check that out too. We're going to give Elena and the team a little break to cool down, and then we'll be back in about 5 minutes to live stream again. Hey guys, my mic is live, okay?
We're a nonprofit dedicated to education, dedicated to community, and we use glass art and the creative process to help people to heal and to become interested in the visual arts, to become interested in science. A lot of our programming is focused around STEM concepts, STEAM concepts really, to include the arts. and we are a public access studio here for everyone. Syndicate Studios was founded in 2010. We started offering program in early 2011, and we have over 30,000 people come and participate. The brand really illustrates community and bringing together the primary elements in community. We offer glass blowing opportunities, we offer flame working classes and workshops, and we also offer kiln forming classes. We've done programming for domestic abuse survivors, we've done programming for homeless kids and people who are looking to heal. We've used our process to help people to express themselves. One of our probably more powerful stories is about a young woman named Alexis who came in, and she had never worked with glass, and we did a kiln forming project, and she and her brother and several other students cast their ideas into thick pieces of glass, and she made a heart that helped her to express the loss of her father. Had a pacemaker. It was a real interesting piece, and it ended up going at auction to someone who had also lost their father, and it was a really powerful. Sometimes is specific to a program, so that 100% of people's donations go towards offering programming to people. Our outreach and our culture of outreach really drives us to find funding outside of that so we can bring the community in and offer programs specifically to our community. Thank you. We are a determined group, and I pledge that any support offered will be used in endeavors in the spirit of community, with kindness and generosity, and with fearlessness.
goes live, she's gonna give us a thumbs up.
Oh, and then we're gonna walk that way?
Yeah.
We're incorporating movement into this.
Yeah,
Okay.
we gotta. Yeah, we're gonna
You guys
welcome
are
in.
used to doing 10 things at once.
That was on the.
Remember, it's informal.
Yeah, it's
so
informal.
just
We're just gonna talk about
yeah,
it.
just talk about your experience here.
We're gonna wait for.
Yeah, yeah, we'll let them.
Yeah, stand in the window.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, random heads poking up would be awesome.
All right, give me 1 second.
Mic check. Microphone check. Gallery Night 2021.
The mic's in front of me, so hopefully it's picking up all the audio in the room. I can turn it off and turn it back on.
Kevin, you can check that iPad. It may have been on for too long. Yeah, just make sure the iPad spray's on.
Yeah, this is flashing.
Is it just flashing?
It is, yeah,
That
yeah.
means it's not, yeah, the iPad turned off.
Okay. Welcome to gallery night.
Microphone.
We just need a little bit more sound.
Yep.
Okay.
Microphone check. Gallery Night 2021. We're ready to go. Well, thank you guys all for tuning in. It is September 2021's Fall Gallery Night presented by the Fort Worth Art Dealers Association, and here at Seneca Studios as members, we do a program where we feature an artist for an exhibition as well as demonstrations in the glassblowing studio. We have begun a new artist in residency program here at Seneca Studios, and twice a year, moving forward, we will be selecting a non-glass artist to participate in a residency throughout the year, and each of those residencies will culminate in a gallery night exhibition and demonstration. Today, we're featuring Elena Greer, and she has been with us for many months. She is a painter and a 2D artist working in line drawing. She came to us with a very interest in the way light and glass kind of work together. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. So my paintings and my drawings have always evolved from interpreting how the light works through the interior on glass and those lines and the perception of those lines and how that's constantly changing and moving. So this artist mini residency was perfect because now at this point I have a chance to create and have my hand in every step of the process. Instead of relying on glass pieces that others have created, I can now make my own glass pieces and use those to then inform my paintings and my drawings. It's been a fantastic opportunity.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. It was a really great fit. And in this program, for any artists out there who are interested, you can apply on our website, www.senecastudios.org. There's a place for artists, and you can read about the program, and you can submit imagery and a proposal. We'll be selecting in November, is that correct, for the next 2 residencies. So if you know anyone out there, Elena, you too, let's spread the word, because this is a growing program that we really hope to engage with local artists to continue this process of kind of, helping them to explore new materials and bring their ideas and concepts into a new medium and working together. Because Seneca Studios is about community, it's about education, it's about arts and culture, and so this is a really great program that does all of those things, right?
Absolutely.
And in this process, Elena participated in all of the studios. We worked a little in the glassblowing studio, we worked a little bit in the flame working studio, and the kiln forming studio to kind of explore the different possibilities, and then kind of hone in on an idea that would turn into a body of work. And so in the gallery today, there are some pieces that she made throughout the residency, some sculptural objects, so to speak, that have now inspired new line drawings and new paintings. And in that process, I think she kind of discovered some new things.
Absolutely. Yeah, and all of the teachers here, all the instructors at Seneca are so patient and so kind and work so well. They're, of course, like masters at their work and have been so great in guiding me and helping me bring those ideas to life, and it's been a wonderful experience. I'm very grateful to everybody at Seneca Studios.
We've loved having you here, Elena.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful fit. And behind her, over here, you can see this glass object that she created in one of her first kind of experiences in the glass blowing studio.
Mm-hmm.
And then she photographed it, right? Tell us a
Yes.
little more about your process. You take this object and what comes next?
So I take the object and I just photograph it from different angles, and then I interpret those photographs into line drawings, and then trace those line drawings onto the canvas, and then interpret the colors from that original photo, the natural colors, into the painting, and highlight and pull out and abstract, to me, what are the most important and most interesting areas within the glass, and those intersections and those interplays of light and glass. So my hand is in every step of the process.
Yeah, making the glass piece from the beginning all the way through. And I found it interesting that in this residency, the process kind of became kind of cyclical.
Yeah,
Kind of became this revolution of process where you are informed by your original body of work to kind of explore the new material, and then those materials then inform new work, and then out of those works more dimensional things are starting to kind of come out. Is that right?
Exactly. We took some of those kind of like original line drawings and reinterpreted those, and how can we bring those like line drawings back into like a 3D form, and created elements from those line drawings back into the glass, and so it became very Ouroboros. It continually fed on itself and informed how each other's work.
Yeah, I really like these line drawings. You can really see how the piece informed the movement of the line. And there's some really fascinating objects in here that would be beautiful sculpture, on their own, to reinterpret some of these things in dimension, to create some new three-dimensional objects. You can kind of see a little bit of an influence here from these kinds of stacking of lines into this new kind of idea in 3D. So we've made several of these, and we're making more today. You'll see that in a moment. We're going to go back into the glassblowing studio and continue the process of kind of exploring and collaborating on these things. In glassblowing, it takes a lot of practice, doesn't it?
It does.
It's challenging. So sometimes you have these ideas in your mind, and it takes a good while to get them to become reality. But when in these, at Seneca Studios, we do all kinds of workshops and classes, and so the team is very practiced in helping people to realize some of their ideas. So it's great to rely on a community of people to help make things possible. So what was your most interested moment like in this process? Was it just the raw heat? Was it the material itself? Was it the final product, or the process that you use? Or where does this really stand out for you?
I think the thing that has been the most interesting for me is, you can see in my line drawings and in my paintings, they're very precise and very controlled. And you really don't have that control when you're working in the studio with hot glass. And so for me, it really expanded and pushed me in new areas and new ways as an artist. And I really appreciated kind of getting out of my element and my comfort zone, and exploring my art in new and scary and exciting ways, and really informed even how I was approaching my paintings and my drawings. So for me, that was the one of the most exciting things about it. But yeah, just being able to get in there and try different things has been an amazing experience for sure.
Well, we've really enjoyed having you here, Elena.
Yeah, well, thank you guys
Yeah.
so much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's
Thanks
been
for
fantastic.
participating with us.
Yeah.
So do you know what you were planning on next in the hot studio tonight?
Tonight we have a couple of forms. Again, I think Colton kind of showed you some of the things. We have a little bit of a different form that we're going to pull out from the line drawings that we're going to explore and make with clear and colored glass.
Okay.
And
Some
then-
of these more
I think some
areas?
of these ideas with this repetitive motion, I think, is where we're headed with this next piece.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then
that sounds
tonight
good.
we'll make some of these and then continue to push some of these large sculpture objects
Yeah.
in new ways.
We'll work towards, let's see if we can get the light on it. We'll work towards some of, this is a hollow form, so we're gonna blow and carve into a very hot surface to get some real, real depth in how the color will play and get pulled through. You can see how the light's really playing with it right through these areas because of the different, textures and thicknesses.
Okay.
So
Fantastic.
we're gonna do some of these later. That light is hot. Sucker's getting warm down here.
All right.
Oh, it's hot, burn me.
So we're gonna follow these guys into the hot studio. Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, my glasses.
All right.
All right, so I think inside is the
Oh, thank you.
yeah, I was like,
I need that. All right. So you guys, we're going to give the team a few minutes to just kind of get set up. And then we're going to continue with our live stream. So hang out with us. I just wanted to briefly mention that if you are interested in helping us out with these programs, you can help support us by donating. So if you text Open Studios to 44321, you can get set up in helping us out with a donation for these demonstrations that are brought to you free from people like you who help us out with little cash donations. So for those of you who are new to our stream, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. We're going to be broadcasting live until about 9 p.m. Texas time. Those of you who are local in Fort Worth, we are also doing this event in person. So if you'd like to come by and hang out with us in person, feel free to do that. We've got some bleachers set up outside. You can come by, hang out. It's kind of a nice evening to do that. And this is part of the Fort Worth Art Dealers Association Gallery Night. So there's a lot of stuff happening tonight. So make us one of your stops along the way. If you need a brochure, if you're planning on going and checking out some galleries tonight, we have some brochures in our gallery. You can stop by and pick one up. And then there is a link to the brochures posted on the chat feed on Facebook. So feel free to check that out too. All right. So Blake is starting us off with our next piece. Blake, is this going to be a hollow vessel?
This is going to be a blown vessel. We'll build it off the pipe. We're going to put on some powder, so I'll say maybe 3 gathers.
Okay.
Powder, blow it out, and then we're going to maybe do a little texturing on the bubble.
Okay.
But eventually we're going to take some solid clear bits.
Okay.
And she's going to do that scallop or
Oh,
that clear
yes,
one. That's,
yes,
that's
yes.
what this is going to be. So
Okay.
a blown piece with the color towards the exterior outside, but then clear bits that she's going to tool, right, and manipulate.
Gotcha. All right. So while Blake's gathering up, I'm going to show you what he's talking about. We're going to put some color on this tray right here. What color is that?
Black.
It's just black?
Black.
Okay. So we're going to be working with a black color, which is an opaque. I don't believe it lets any light through.
It's an old Q color, Q54. This is a really dense, dark black color.
All right. So we're working with a dark black powder.
Okay, Blake, go
And
ahead.
then the piece we're making is going to have some ripples very similar to this guy right here. So Blake is going to start us off with a hollow vessel, I believe, right?
Yes.
And then,
Kristen and Blake are going to blow out and make the core piece, and then we'll gather clear glass on top of the black core,
okay,
and then we'll go in and carve that.
okay,
And
fantastic.
experiment with different tools to see what organic shapes you can pull out of it.
Okay, awesome. So for those of you who are new, who are joining us for the first time, that's what hot glass looks like when it comes right out of the furnace. So we work with glass while it's in its molten state in this studio. The furnace back there that you can see Blake gathering out of sits at about 2100 degrees pretty much all the time. So unless we're doing some maintenance on the furnace, that furnace is staying at about 2100 degrees. And the glass is pretty molten when it's in there. So if Blake stops turning that pipe, the glass is going to meet the floor. So you guys can see it's pretty hot, it's pretty liquidy.
Yeah, so basically,
And then he's going to roll the glass in some color.
go back to the hot. Basically, this kind of
Oh, thanks, Vernell. That's super sweet of you. But feel free to let me know if you have any questions at any time. I'm always happy to answer them or try to answer them. So Elena's using a wooden block to shape and cool the glass. We leave these wooden blocks in water to cool them down. And when we set the glass in them, the glass kind of rides on a little layer of steam. So Elena's going into the color. She's basically slowly rolling across the color to add color to the glass. So when we buy color, we buy it in basically crushed glass called frit. So the size that she's using right now is powder. And then in order to get it to melt on fully, she's got to use the reheating chamber. You can see now her hands are turning as she's heating.
Yeah, it just has to be melted in. Yep, that's all you need. Come back. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to do a lot more color. Start the high angle. Okay, you can straighten it up once you go back down. Get it straight.
So Elena's adding color to this pipe. And then we're blowing on a hollow tube. So we've got the glass gathered on a blowpipe. So eventually this piece is going to be hollow. Blake is kind of guiding Elena through this. Remember that Elena is not a glass artist. She is an artist, but this was her first opportunity to play with hot glass. I would say she's doing a pretty good job. You're doing a great job, Elena.
Very good. Yeah, just enough to cook it in, yeah. Now let's start at that high angle again. Even when it's off, just a little bit. Oh, you can put a little weight, squat a little bit.
Okay.
Just to prevent it from getting long, because as we're hanging out, it's going to lengthen. Gravity is going to pull it. There you go. Good.
So Elena's rolling in colored glass. This is going to apply layers and layers and layers of color. And then by reheating it, she's cooking the glass color in. So this piece is going to be black in color. I know it's hard to tell, it looks like it's kind of grayish, but once everything's melted in, the color is going to change to black.
Yeah, go for a heat, and I can take it off your hands. So you can just heat it, get it hot. When you're ready to hand it off, I'll take it.
Kevin's going to give you a close-up, but I don't think that it will focus inside the heating chamber. So you can see that Elena's hands are constantly turning. One of the main things we have to focus on as glass makers is making sure that the glass doesn't drip off the rod. And so we've got this blowpipe that we're working with. We've got to make sure that Blake is continuously turning so that the glass doesn't meet the floor. So Blake's going to use a block, kind of shape up the glass a little bit. We like it to be in a nice Q-tip shape. That's what we're looking for. So by keeping that block soaked, we can make sure that the wood is not burning up too quickly. And then we're going to see him give it a little bit of air. So he's going to put his mouth to the end of the blowpipe and trap a little bit of air. That's going to allow the glass to slowly expand. I don't know if you guys can see that on video, but it's getting kind of, it's going to start to inflate like a balloon. You should be able to see it doing that right now. So that's how we make hollow vessels. Almost all hollow vessels will start like this. We start on a blowpipe, and then we add a little bit of air. Blake's next tool is one of my favorites. It is the folded wet newspaper. Oh, just kidding. All right, so he's shaping it up on the marver, which is the steel table that is kind of cooling the glass down as well as shaping it. And you can see the color come through now. It's no longer gray in color. It looks black now. So Blake is planning on gathering some more glass on top of this. So he's got to let it cool down quite a bit before he goes back into the furnace. What that's going to do is allow him to gather some clear glass over top without the black glass melting into the furnace. So we're just going to hang out with him for a little bit. He's going to let that glass cool off. And then you guys, one of the things that you can do tonight to help us out is share this video with your friends. This is going to be pretty exciting. We don't get to see too many artists work in the hot shop who don't have a lot of experience working in the hot shop. And Elena has been working with us for a few months now, so maybe about 4 months, and very intermittently. So this is pretty exciting. So Blake is chatting with Elena about a plan. It sounds like they're planning on gathering one gather on top, and then they're gonna blow it out a little bit, and then Elena is gonna texturize the outside. So by allowing this core of glass to cool down, we're able to gather hot glass on top without the black color melting into the furnace. So Blake is turning his hands, you can see he's turning rapidly, and then when he comes out of here, we're gonna see very, very, very hot glass on the end of that pipe. So of course the steel gets hot. One of the questions we get asked the most, I think, as glass makers is, do we get burned in here? And we surely do, but it's not as often as you think. So Blake is shaping up that glass again, using a block to create that Q-tip shape. If any of you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. If you want me to cheer on our artists on your behalf, feel free to put that in the chat too, and I can pass on words of encouragement from you guys. So Blake's going in for another reheat. Blake, is this gonna be one, are you gonna gather again?
No.
No, right? Okay. So this is gonna be it, and then when he brings it back to the bench, we're probably gonna see him shape a little bit more. So he's gonna take it over to the marver, do a little bit of shaping. And then by adding a little bit of air into the other end of the pipe, he's gonna inflate it a little bit. So glass blowing is a lot like dancing. It's got, you'll notice that there are sort of patterns that happen in the studio where people are moving from certain equipment to other equipment. They're taking a certain number of steps. It's quite a graceful dance, actually. Now Blake is using my favorite tool. This is just wet newspaper, and it allows you to put your hands pretty close to the glass without getting burned. So when I said we were kind of almost doing a dance, we're gonna be going from the reheating chamber back to the bench, probably to the marver at some point, but mostly between the reheating chamber and the bench to heat and shape the glass.
In real life, what do you use it for? I think it's a cheese cutter. Oh, right. That's what I thought. That makes sense.
A little bit of air.
So Blake is using the wet newspaper to shape the glass. while Tatara is blowing into the end.
I got it.
That's cool. I like that. That makes it cheese, right? So I think if we're gonna be that big, probably at least 5, because I don't want there to be any negative space between the gatherings.
Okay. So you want it to go all the way to the tip, you think? You know, because on that one we did.
Yeah, it was cool, but I'm not super crazy about doing like that eyeball. I don't know.
So Blake is using a tool called a jacks. The jacks are used to make a constriction in the glass so that we can eventually break the glass free from the steel rod. And yes, glass blowers don't use a lot of heat protection, but this is one of the main ones we do use. You can see that Tatara's got a wooden paddle in her left hand, and she's shielding Blake from the heat of the glass. That's about pretty much most of the protection you'll see most glass makers use. We do also sometimes use a yellow sleeve called a Kevlar sleeve for heat protection, but that's usually about the maximum that tends to happen with most pieces. Of course, as the glass gets larger, you'll see glass makers putting on more and more heat protective equipment. So you can see that constriction that jacks caused back there. That's going to allow the glass to break free eventually. So we're going to be doing this quite a bit. We're going to be reheating and then shaping and then reheating and shaping until we get a shape that we're happy with, or Elena is happy with.
Take a little air. Just to get it. Real easy.
So Blake is using the wet newspaper. Tatara is giving a little bit of air.
Okay, what about that on the shape?
And then Blake's checking to make sure that Elena is happy with that shape.
Okay. Okay, so we want to, so like before we stuck here, I brought her here, right? We did it like that.
So Elena and Blake are discussing a plan to figure out what they're doing. Elena's marking the top end of the pipe so that they know which side to kind of turn. This is basically giving them a direction because the bubble is symmetrical. They've got to figure out which side is the top and which side is the bottom. It's going to give them a direction to turn. So this helps with a little bit more, more on the side of communication in the hot shop. So the team is just chatting about what Elena wants to do, because technically this is Elena's work, but the hot shop is very much a team sport. So it takes a whole team to kind of make a piece. And so at this point, what we're doing is we're really assisting Elena in making her vision in this studio. So Clifton's gathering up some glass. I believe the plan is to do a little bit of bit work, which is going to involve some hot glass being laid on that bubble. So they're discussing their plan. As they work, I'm going to find a good spot to stand so I can show you guys a close-up of this and not be in the way. All right. So this is the base. This is the bubble that we're going to be laying glass on. Clifton has gone ahead and taken another gather. And then he's going to come by. And I believe he's going to lay some strips of glass on the bubble. And then Elena is going to texturize them. So Clifton's using the marver to shape up these bits a little bit. And then he's going to heat. Clifton's going to heat that bit up.
Yeah, that's really
Or I'm sorry, he's going to take another gather. He's gathering up a little more glass. And that big glob of glass is going to get dropped on this bubble. So Blake is readying himself. Clifton is shaping up that bit of glass. And then Clifton's going to give it a really, really, really good heat. We got to make sure the glass is nice and gooey when they take it. So Blake is getting himself ready with the diamond shears. The team is communicating so that Blake knows he's got to keep the glass a little bit warmer before they take this bit. And then they're going to stick it and kind of drag it over. Elena's going to cut in a little jack line. And now she's going to work on texturizing it. Beautiful. That looks beautiful.
A little flash, and we can do a little fixing.
So those texturizing moves have to be done pretty fast because the glass is continuously losing its heat. And so proper communication is really key in this studio. So Elena's going back in, texturizing a little bit.
Don't forget, we can get them all on there and then get the exterior all hot, you know, if we need.
Alright, ready to lay the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah, they came out better than I thought.
That looks really nice. And so as you can see, this really is a team sport. Tatara is working on the next bit already.
Let's just do 3 on one side.
I mean, not bad heavy. Just we can handle it.
I mean, it might be fun to do this.
Muscles, man. See, ultimately, you have to carry this at some point in time. You absolutely have to.
Yeah.
So I get all the scallops on there, and then you take it for at least 2 flashes.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, you take it for...
Oh, kids? Oh, just 3. But 2 at once. Just 2 at once.
So you have to take at least the last 2 flashes, add the water, and play it off. At least.
Okay. So, for the next 2
Yeah,
scallops, let's do it. Can we do them right next to each other and just see what that looks like?
So you want me to take it this way? Yeah. Wait, let's go this way.
Okay.
This side so that you're on this side, right? That doesn't seem easier, right? Go this way.
So Elena is talking to Blake about where she wants the next 2 bits of glass to go.
Well, because I said I didn't want that negative space, but
Yeah, I'll
maybe
leave.
it's 2 more.
Okay, about a half inch. I'll try.
Hey, if it's not that big.
Doable.
Tatara, as you can see, is prepping the next bit, making sure we get enough glass on there. And then Blake is planning out where to put the next bit. So Elena and Blake are talking about it, because ultimately Elena is directing the piece. She is guiding the team as to what she wants.
Do a little more in just to add so much competition.
Instead of making them all even. All right.
One more shake, one more heat, I'll be alright.
Okay.
And so you can see that Blake is continuously moving around the studio and walking back to the reheating chamber to heat. This is just to make sure the glass doesn't get too cold. Now glass can crack if it cools too fast. And so we gotta keep it at a temperature that's above 1,000 degrees to make sure that it doesn't crack. So that's generally the reason why you see glass making artists continuously flashing the piece.
Yes. Up and down. I'm gonna hit it next to the other one.
So Blake is communicating with Tatara, who is heating up that bit of glass. She's going to bring it over and drop it straight down. And Blake is going to guide it and lay it down.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit more space than you asked, but
That's alright.
And then Elena's going to go in and shape those bits up. Beautiful. Nicely done. Nicely done. That looks really great. So those of you who are watching, if you have any questions about the process that we're doing tonight, feel free to put your comments down in the chat. I'm happy to pass on any questions to Elena as well.
Yeah, let's do it. I kind of wanted to lay them all down and then see if we wanted to add anything to it. So maybe that will go
same as before. Want anything change anything? What do you think?
So Blake and Elena are now discussing the next bit, which Clifton is already preparing, as you can see over there.
I might not be able to get this tool there, but I could get in with the pad.
so you guys can see the glass is really, really, really gooey and malleable when it comes out of the furnace. If Tatara were to stop turning, the glass would slowly start to drip. So it's very similar to honey. If you have some honey at home, you can always take a little skewer and see how long you can keep the honey on the end by rotating it, the skewer. All right, you guys, so one of the things we were dealing with last summer is some of the phones overheat when it is pretty warm in this studio. So I'm gonna keep talking. Hopefully we have enough camera angles tonight to give you guys a view of what's going on. And then once my handheld camera is back up and running, I'll show you guys some detail shots. So Clifton this time is bringing a bit for Blake. They are laying it on. And then Elena's going in with the tag and cutting into the bit while it's hot to give it those little scalloped textures. Super fantastic way to make textures. Elena is actually using a paint scraper for this. So Tatara's already in the middle of prepping the next bit. It takes quite a bit of practice to learn how to do this, but if you guys want to learn how to do this, I know a really awesome place where you can take classes locally in Fort Worth, Texas. So if you're interested in learning how to do this, please do go to our website, senecastudios.org. We offer a number of classes in hot glass making and kiln forming and flame working. Glass is a ton of fun, and if you've never gotten a chance to play with it, I highly encourage you guys to try it out. A lot of the folks in here today are glass making instructors, and if you come take a class with us, you're probably going to meet some of them. Heidi was kind enough to put a link to our classes in the chat, so if you are interested in taking one of our classes, feel free to click on that link and see what we have coming up. Some of you really love glass pumpkins, and you may want to come make a pumpkin. This is just the right time of year to do that. So Kevin is giving us an awesome view of that bit. This might be the second to last bit, I'm not quite sure. But Elena's going in and texturing that bit. So you guys can come take classes with us. You may not be able to do something exactly like this, but we offer a ton of classes with really, really awesome things that you can make. So if you are coming in within the next few months, you'll probably get a chance to make a glass pumpkin. And as we get closer to December, you'll be getting an opportunity to make ornaments as well. Nice job, Elena. It's kind of amazing, right, to think that Elena isn't a glass artist. She's spent a few months with us and has worked out these really, really beautiful pieces. Now, one of the cool things about these pieces are the optics. And we've got a black base under there with a lot of these clear textural details on top. And that's going to be extremely beautiful in terms of refraction when it cools down. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it when it's done. So one of the things you guys are noticing probably as the glass is being worked on is it sometimes has an orange tinge to it. Like looks slightly orangey. That's just really a heat thing, and as the glass cools down, it's going to lose that. We're going to be completely clear.
That's what I was thinking.
You want, yeah.
Let's lay it the opposite.
Okay, yeah. Ready?
All right.
Right here, right?
This might be potentially one of the last bits. I'm uncertain. So Elena's doing a little bit of texturing with the tag.
Get that smush on.
Yeah. Right there. Wait. Get that right.
You can blast it. Maybe you can. And yes, you will. There isn't an option. There isn't an option.
So you guys, if you are local, feel free to come by. Check us out tonight. We're going to be streaming until about 9 p.m.
Maybe torch, polish that little cut.
You want me to do it?
Elena's got a little bit of work in the gallery as well for you guys to check out if you come by tonight. Kevin's getting some good angles in here. Thanks, Kevin. So Tatara is taking some flashes to make sure that the glass stays warm. I'm not 100% sure if you guys can see that on camera, but the glass is glowing slightly red. That red color is from the radiant heat from the piece. So as the glass is heating up, we can tell that it's warm just by looking at the color. So Clifton is heating up another bit for us. And Blake and Elena are trying to figure out where they're putting the next bit. Alright. So we always make our artists get a sense of how heavy the piece is. Elena's being a champ. So Blake's laying on one of the last few bits. I think they're gonna do maybe one more or two more of these.
Well, I'm trying to keep it hot for her so that she doesn't get a cold.
And then Elena's using the tag to texture that bit again. Now those of you who are watching, feel free to share this video with your friends. This is our feature for Gallery Night. So Fall Gallery Night for the Fort Worth Art Dealers Association. And we have started featuring an artist, a local artist who doesn't work with glass for this event. So we do a fall gallery night and we do a spring gallery night. And Elena is our featured artist this fall gallery night. So if you're an artist out there and you want to participate, we posted a link in the chat where you can apply to participate in this program with us.
You can also get, like I said, get a whole lead over it and manipulate it, all of it if you want, right? It can get weird, but it might be fun. Yeah, we can do another one, less or different stuff. We learned a lot, doing this one, so it might not be exactly what you did in the plan.
So Clifton is marvering up this last bit. I think this is going to be the last or the last of two.
Or last bit?
Yeah. I don't know.
I would.
2 bits more. So this is the second to last one that they're putting on. And then they'll put one more on after that.
We can do it.
Hi. Hi. How you feeling? All right. So we're gonna get one more bit on here right now. And then we are gonna take one more before this piece is gonna be in pretty close to done state. So Blake's gonna use the diamond shears, touching the glass onto the base, and then dragging it across the surface. And then going ahead and trimming that off. That'll allow enough heat to remain in the piece so Elena can use that heat to change the shape of that bit a little bit. All right, that looks great.
Great angle.
Well, I've got the light proof. I'm good.
Kevin, I think you are live
Yep.
right now? Because this one
I
is...
am the program.
All right. I'll keep talking. So you guys don't forget that we are your Fort Worth resource for taking classes, but we do a lot more than that. We do this programming, we bring this programming to you guys free of charge. These public demonstrations, the Fall Gallery Night and Spring Gallery Night are unique in that they happen additionally to our Open Studio Nights that happen once a month. On the the second Friday of every month is usually when we do these public demonstrations. Fall Gallery Night and Spring Gallery Night are in addition to this. And those dates change depending on the Fort Worth Art Dealers Association. So whenever they do their gallery nights, we usually do a demonstration. Now the residency program is pretty new to us. And if you're a local artist who wants to participate, please do put in an application. Those deadlines are coming up pretty soon here. At the end of the month, I believe. And we have posted a link to that opportunities page in the chat. So if you're looking for the application, you'll find it there. But Seneca does a lot more than that even. We do a lot of outreach programming. We offer rental facilities. So if you come and take classes here and learn how to do this for real, you can eventually rent here once you're comfortable working in this studio. So we are planning on taking one more bit. Is that right?
Correct.
In that clear space there? All right.
Little cut, sorry.
So Blake is taking one more bit, dropping it right in that space. Then Elena is going to go in with a tag and cut in some textured scallops. Beautiful. Now she's only got a limited amount of time she can do that because the glass loses its heat pretty quickly. And so working fast is important. So you guys check out, if you're pretty new to our stream, check out these super cool tools.
Weird and just eat the whole thing and like grab
So all of these are tools that glassmakers use at the bench, and they all offer a variety of functions. We've got some unusual tools on the bench like that paint scraper. But for the most part, artists are pretty clever with the tools that they use. From what I'm hearing, I think they are talking about twisting this form up a little bit. They're changing the form a little bit now that these bits have been applied. So Elena's trying to decide at this point what she wants to happen. The team is kind of working with her, trying to figure it out. Blake is using the newspaper to kind of twist a little bit.
We gotta do it with the heat. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
hot now, they're gonna move.
No, they're not that much.
And I can heat it from here.
So you guys can see now that the color has changed quite a bit. Tatara's added a lot more heat in there. That color is no longer black. As it cools, it's going to get back to its color, the black color that we added on at the very beginning. At this point, it's just the heat that is affecting the color. So Tatara is getting a lot more heat in there.
Might have to fix that jet.
We're lengthening it a little bit by hanging it down. So they're adding a little bit of length by holding it down this way. Is the plan to twist it? Are you guys still thinking about it?
We were going to see if we could twist it and see what would happen.
Yeah.
Keep going? Or leave it like that?
Let's leave it like that. I don't want it to get too like.
Twist it pretty good here.
Yeah.
See that bubble, how that bubble went?
All right.
Get that neckline over.
So Blake is going to heat
But if they get
the neckline, the jack line.
It got a little softer, a little weirder, a little.
They're going to add some heat back there and kind of cut into it again. They had laid some bits over that area, and so that they got to go back and redefine that jack line a little bit.
Yeah, I think I get it with the jacks. I can start it.
I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying to stay away from the piece a little bit so the cameras stop overheating. But every so often, I'll try to give you guys a little bit of a preview or a slight close-up.
I don't know. I like it like that actually. There's more twist at the.
base. You want me to just keep the top? Twist it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's safe.
And Blake, while we do
Yes.
that, keep these for good.
Okay, yeah.
Okay?
Oh, that
Do
ain't
you want it?
No, I'm good. I just tell you. Like, that's nothing. This.
All right. So Tatara is heating up a little bit. So Elena is guiding Tatara.
Good luck, Cole, working that straight.
And they are slowly trying to twist it together.
Okay.
But I just gotta go heat it up.
looks really nice. Yeah.
The longer too. Yeah.
Less static.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, we done? We're done.
Yeah, let's get that.
All right.
Okay, so how are you?
So the team was trying their best to twist up give the piece a little movement by twisting up those strips that they applied. So they did that very, very gently, just by letting the glass heat up and slowly twisting. Their next step is going to be to heat up that neckline and then put a jack line back in. Oh my goodness. All right. Nice job, Elena. That piece is actually quite heavy, and so if it looked like Elena was struggling there a little bit, it's because she was. Tatara is used to lifting a lot of heavy pieces, and it takes quite a lot of work to lift glass on the end of a punty like that, or a pipe like that. That piece is quite heavy. That looks really nice.
Yeah, it's gonna come in. And she made 20 inner tubes with a self-scope T-Rex drinking a margarita. You remember that?
Yeah.
And it was all off-center. And so it was so heavy because like this is really centered when you pick it up, you know? And it was such a
All right. So now we're going to heat the piece. Blake is going to use this hot torch to heat up the neckline. And that's going to allow us to put that jack line back in, to cut it back in.
And all that heat, like laying those tips in real nicely.
Maybe orange.
Yeah, let's do that. Like, what is it?
Blown mandarin.
Yeah, yeah.
Or blue. Or there's transparent blue in there.
I'd rather
I think the orange. Yeah, I agree. Just blow it out a little bit. I think
just like
it'd be.
real light.
Is it this thing too?
No,
No.
we're gonna just like the glow and
Overlay.
gather.
No, overlay like the blown one from there. No, we already did that.
All right. All right, so Blake is really focusing that heat on the neckline. because they put some textural bits around the jack line that they had created initially, they've got to go back in and cut that back in order to free it from the blowpipe. So that concentrated heat is going to help melt that glass that's right there. We're going to combine that torch heat with the heat from the reheating chamber.
You're basically keeping that with my yeah, but I'll probably be okay on this.
You know the glass, right? You're heating heat, right? And heat rises
And then you can see
And so what you're
Blake
doing with
using the
that
tag.
is you're creating a barrier between where the heat is rising.
He is basically cutting in a line.
Right?
That line is going to help us break the glass free from the pipe.
I know, yeah. Well, this is the fingers crossed. Maybe a little.
So Blake is going to be heating again. They're going to do that move one more time. Tatara is going to take a flash, nice deep flash, to make sure that torch heat soaks in.
Take a shield.
And then Blake is going to cut that neckline in with the jacks.
That's great, huh? You're okay, you're good. Huh? Yeah. And now is the real waiting game. Now we really just yeah.
Now we're going to let this cool a little bit. So Blake's going to heat the connection. We call that the moil. That's the connection where the glass is connected to the blowpipe. He's going to heat that to make sure the heat kind of evens out through the piece. And because they were giving the neckline some heat from a torch, we're going to try to let that all even out.
Maybe a little bit harder of a hit, just like I showed you with the tweak of the vacuum. I'll step out. I don't think so. No. I'm gonna set this. Yeah. Yeah, could be plenty. Yeah. Don't make sure this isn't too hot. This oven isn't too bad.
So Tatara's going to go ahead and take a flash. That's going to help even out the heat a little bit.
Yeah, we want to save a little time while this is cooling down. You big pipe? Yeah, I'll grab that. Yes.
Oh, candy corn.
What?
There's candy corn in there. Be careful.
We're gonna take it off over here.
Yeah, we're gonna maybe sit over here so that there's no cracks texture.
But we'll have Elena break it off over
Yeah.
there, right? Okay.
Yeah.
You want Fluffy? What do you want?
So we're allowing the glass to slowly cool.
He is. But I can take your flash.
This is going to even out all of the temperature in the glass. We want to make sure that we don't have hot spots and cold spots for this piece.
You know, we can just splash it down. Don't put it away too hot.
then Blake is going to take a quick flash to kind of even out the heat in the piece. We got to make sure that there's not hot and cold spots because heat differentials crack glass. That looks great. All right, so Clifton is starting up our next piece while we are working on cooling this last piece down.
One more, Kevin, and we're going to take it off.
Maybe I'll walk it. I'll walk it by that.
Did I take it off? What? We're going to bring it to you. Take it off.
So Blake is taking the last flash, and you can see Kevin suited up. He's got these gloves on, protective gear, so that he can actually catch the piece. And by adding a little bit of water into that neckline,
Maybe one more. What do you think, Kevin?
we are creating
Why is that?
Want to get on with the jack? Want to go right or left, Kevin?
we're creating a little bit of a tension where we want the glass to break.
I think that's good. So like grab it. I'm gonna
Hit
lift.
it with
Yep.
this.
Okay. Ready?
Right?
Yeah.
Hit it hard.
That's all it takes.
Good.
Nice job.
Closed off. Pretty much closed off.
Nice job. That was great. All right, so once the piece is done, it goes into an annealer to slowly cool down. You guys can see those units right there on the right of our studio. These guys will slowly bring the temperature down from about 900 down to room temperature. All right, so Clifton is starting us off on our next piece. I'm not quite sure yet what that is gonna be, but I think we'll find out together. What is the next piece gonna be?
Okay, so I've got a little piece of mandarin orange, a little bitty piece,
Okay,
and we're gonna blow it out.
all
So
right,
It's gonna be kind of a faint application of color where it's real translucenty,
okay,
kind of orangey color. And we're gonna do probably 3 gathers, and I'll get a neck in it, a nice even bubble. We'll do a post gather. She's just gonna carve the surface, like the amber one and the green one. That are
oh,
together.
awesome.
She wanted to finish with
And that mandarin orange that's in the annealer, is it an opaque color or
It's
translucent?
opaque. Mandarin's opaque, but it's a little piece. So
It's a little piece, so you're gonna
blow out,
stretch
yeah.
it and
You're gonna stretch
thin it out. Okay.
And crack, so it looks like 2 pieces right now.
Oh,
Now this one is like quicker.
all right. So Clifton has picked up a little bit of color, like you guys heard him say. This is going to be orange in color, and what he's doing at the moment is heating it up. They're going to blow it again, gather glass on top of it, and Elena is going to cut into the surface. So very similar to the work you guys saw us talk about earlier in the broadcast in the gallery. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, welcome. This is our Fort Worth Art Dealers Association Gallery Night presentation for the fall, and we are featuring Elena Greer. So Elena has been working with us in our new residency program, which features artists who have not worked with glass before and gives them an opportunity to work with a new medium. So So for the past few months, we've been working with Elena, and she's been exploring the glass medium with our instructors. And then the residency culminates in this gallery night presentation, which includes a short exhibition. So if you guys are local to this area, feel free to stop by our gallery and you can check out some of the work that she made during the residency. So Clifton is shaping up this color. You can see that the color looks kind of murky in this stage. It's kind of orange in color. I guess this color is true because it is orange.
Yeah,
it's going to be orange, but it's going to look a little different from that.
That's kind of a browny orange, and it'll be a much brighter kind of a mandarin.
Yeah, if it's going to be tangerine in color.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Yeah.
So many ways to describe that color.
Yeah, mandarin's a good way to describe it.
Orange, tangerine.
Yeah. At this point it looks kind of brownish orange, but it'll change as it cools down. So Clifton's heating up this glass, letting it cool down, and then he's going to gather more clear glass on top of it. How many gathers are you thinking of doing?
Probably do 3 and then a 4th as the post.
Okay. You said 3, huh?
I don't know, Tatara's charging tomorrow, so she's over there doing how many gathers is she doing?
So Clifton is gathering out of our 2100 degree furnace. The furnace sits at this temperature year round unless we're doing maintenance on it. So you guys can see that the glass is pretty gooey. It sits in its liquid state pretty much all the time. That makes it really easy for us to pull glass out and shape it and work with it. So Clifton is using a wood block to shape the glass into a Q-tip shape. That's a really nice shape to start with if you're planning on blowing a bubble, which he is, and we can tell that because he's got a blowpipe in his hands, which is a hollow tube. So he's using some wet newspaper to refine the shape. And then we'll see him put some air into the end, which is going to inflate that bubble a little bit.
Trying to get the bubble to the tip so that it'll really diffuse that orange.
Yeah. So Clifton has picked up a very slight amount of color, and he's going to try to thin it out. So where Clifton's at right now, Tatara's checking the temperature, and it's about 130 degrees where Clifton is standing in the shop right now.
Not terrible.
All right, so Clifton's going to get a little more clear glass. You can see that when the glass comes out, it's glowing bright yellow. Super, super duper hot. You can almost not see the color in there.
So on this one, go in and carve, make some like deep carve. That way when we go in and box, we keep some of those like ridges. And if it looks good the way it is, let's just leave it. But I kind of want to go in with the torch and like do some of those crimps.
Okay.
So Clifton is using the blocks to shape the glass into a nice Q-tip shape. He's probably going to do a little more inflation. And then he did say that he is planning on gathering 2 more times after this. So he's going to blow a little more. Use a newspaper to cool the glass down. He's basically going to be alternating between shaping and blowing for a little bit. And once he's happy with the shape, he's going to let that cool down again so he can gather some more glass over it. So you guys, we're going to be broadcasting for about 1 more hour. If you have any friends who would like to jump in and watch us, feel free to share this link with them while we're live so they can participate with us. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat with us so we can try to answer them as we go through the night. Right. Clifton's taking another gather. We're going to see a lot more glass come out this time. He's going to take the glass to the pipe cooler, kind of chill it out. The metal does get hot as we're gathering. And using the block, he's going to cool and shape the glass into a Q-tip shape. He's maintaining that Q-tip shape because it's an ideal shape for blowing bubbles. And the newspaper allows you to refine the shape a little bit. So he's able to put his hands very, very close to the glass without burning himself. Is that your last gather, Clifton, or are you planning on gathering some more glass?
I'm going to blow this out really pretty even and get a neck in it, and then I'll do a post gather.
Okay, got it. So we are going to see a little extra glass. Clifton is planning on blowing this out a little bit, putting a neckline in. For those of you who have watched our streams before, you probably know what a jackline or a neckline is already. So we're going to watch him do that. And then after he does that, he is going to take a post gather, which is a little bit more glass. So post gather usually happens after the neckline has already been put in. We're watching Clifton shape the glass on a marver right now, which is a steel table. So it's doing a couple of things. It's shaping the glass as well as cooling the glass down. So Clifton's blowing, shaping the glass, alternating between the two, using the marver to cool and shape the glass. And then hanging it off the end of the marver and blowing through to inflate. So in our studio, we have started primarily using blow hoses just for the purposes of safety. If you come in to take a class, you will be offered a blow hose as well. We are trying our best to do our part in navigating the pandemic. So our instructors are still wearing masks during classes, and we make our students blow through blow hoses so that we can minimize contact with the blowpipe. So Clifton is actually blowing through that blow hose as he's shaping. You can see the bubbles sort of slightly inflating as he's going. Hopefully you guys can see that. The newspaper is guiding him in shaping. So newspaper is basically wet newspaper. So Clifton is heating a little bit. The crowd got quiet all of a sudden after that torching.
So I'm going to get the neck in it, and then probably 2 classes, and a little bit of time to let it cool off.
All right. So I don't know if you guys caught that. Clifton is going to put in a neckline. He's going to put in his jack line. You can see that Blake is assisting him by keeping him cool with a wooden paddle. That's going to minimize the amount of heat that Clifton has exposed on his hand. He's going to use the newspaper. He's blowing as he's shaping. So it's just wet newspaper. So I hope you guys could hear Clifton explain that, but I'm going to talk about that.
Lots of additions of hot glass that she attacked with the tools. This will be one addition, right? One layer that we're going to kind of influence on all sides. Now, the entire time she's going after it with the tools, the heat, this jacket of super hot clear glass is going to start heating this bubble up. So after you touch it like 6 times, that bubble's going to start to distort and collapse and maybe touch itself on the inside, which makes for some really cool things later. So we probably will kind of, mangle this bubble up a little bit. Right now it looks very nice and even. So regardless of how we beat it up, it's even. So when we go give it a puff of air, it should move in an even manner and kind of re-inflate. So we'll push on it, and then we'll see how it does, and then we'll give it a little bit of air to re-inflate the core, and then kind of go with the flow.
Right. So hopefully you guys could hear that.
I want to get this as cold as I can.
Clifton is gonna be taking a post gather, and then Elena is gonna dive right in and carve into that clear glass. So we're letting it cool down right now. He's gonna go in, gather, and then Elena's gonna carve into the surface. It's gonna be pretty fun to watch, so hopefully you will stay tuned for that. Bye.
Weird thing, but sometimes we have to heat it up so it'll cool off. We want it to be even. Right now the surface is colder than the inside, so we heat up the surface briefly and it makes it a little bit more balanced. I tried to blow out that color. It got kind of thin out there, but it's real rich and it kind of fades to a little bit of a milkiness. So we'll see. We have to blow it quite a bit to really get it to it's kind of streaming. Yeah. See, so it's just big different. Little orange or reddish, block. Just never know. Nice day. I might just always get exactly the same color. Yeah, this might be okay.
Thank you.
Do I talk? Can I hear me?
I just need a drink.
Oh.
All right. So I'm letting Tatara take over the camera for a little bit. I'm not on camera. When it says program, you're on camera. All right. So the plan is to let this cool down a little bit and gather some clear glass right over this. All right. All right. So Clifton's got a little bit of transparency at that bubble tip, and he is he's going to be taking a lot of clear glass over this colored bubble. So Tatara's getting a great shot of the inside there. I don't know if the camera will really focus too well, but you guys are definitely going to be able to see the glass as it comes out. Nice and hot and juicy. So you guys can see the glass is really hot, and we can see that in the color of the color that it's giving off. Elena's got a little bit of time to carve before that bubble that's on the inside starts to collapse, just from the heat of that gather. So this is definitely a time-sensitive move.
We got some heat now.
you guys can see that, but there's a little bit of transparency in that bubble. There's a little bit of transparency in that color on the very tip. So we're allowing the glass to cool down, and then they're gonna go in with a hot torch, selectively heat and shape different areas. Is it good now? It had overheated.
Oh.
It had overheated.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So now it's about just selective heating and shaping. Elena is happy with the overall shape, those big bold moves that she had made earlier. Now it's all about detail work.
Oil the tip first, and it'll cook in as we're flashing. So I'm going to go give it a little flash, come back, heat it again. Get right on top of it. You know, so that you're not being heavy. Yeah, get above it so you can use your shoulders. One, I can leave it pointed down like this, so you have a little easier access to it. Okay, ready? We've got 2 inches right there you can work with. That's also gonna, yeah, that's the pull there. You got about that, those 2 inches there. If you want to come back towards me, you can put more on this end.
All right, so Elena's using the tweezers, which are gonna give her some very, very tight areas that she can manipulate. And then she's directing Clifton as to what to heat before she continues to manipulate the glass.
Time. So I'm going to heat the next couple of inches. See glowing. Yeah, let's put a Band-Aid on that. Orange always throws me off. It looks hot, but it's orange.
All right, so Clifton has noticed a little tiny crack in the moil. They're gonna basically take a hot glass wrap on that to keep a little bit of heat in it. Blake, are you bringing it from the front?
Probably come from behind.
Okay. All right.
Don't worry about it. Hold on, and it'll stick. Okay, Blake? From behind or front? From in front. I'm going to come towards you. And I'm going to roll towards me.
All right.
Yep.
So that little hot bit of glass is going to stop the moil from cracking. So that they can continue working.
Pushing in and twisting, it's just going to get deep.
I'm not getting as much, I'm not getting as much as I want. I should have brought it as well.
Okay. Good post gather. Okay, where are you going? You want to go down here?
Yeah, you probably stop right about where you are, so where that little
Yeah, that little spot is.
stop.
Okay, alright. Careful, the surface is what's hot. So if you need to, do that. So we have a little bit deeper. Yeah, maybe. Go back, we'll do that again.
All right. Nice.
This whole thing from here to there. You're going to give it a flash so that that heat can get in a little deeper. That way you won't feel like you're slipping.
Okay.
The surface sometimes will just slip right off of the colder core. So let's give it just one little heat to soak in.
All right. So Clifton's going to give it a flash, and then when he brings it back to the bench, Elena's going to take the tweezers and reshape those little details that we were talking about.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. So let's
let's watch them do that one more time. Clifton's taking a hot torch to the area that they're gonna shape and detail. Then as soon as Elena's ready, she's gonna go in with the tweezers and pinch and shape the glass.
You want to come back and do that a little bit, just a little bit more. See? Yep, yep, yep.
Okay.
All right.
It's gonna be hot on the surface. So just come off of it. Give it a good heat.
Oh man, I hope he keeps that face.
I think it will.
Here. When I flip, you can lift up. You're gonna be heat, come back, take another look.
I kind of think that's it. What do you think?
I like it. Maybe a little bit right through there. If you want it. A little tug straight towards you. Those are a little long. Those are gonna want to break off later in life. Here, let's just remove that one instead of trying to push it back in. Sometimes it's better to just take them off. Yeah. And then a little foot heat and it rounds it off.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like I said before, it's better to pull them out and then snip them free.
Yeah.
And then get them hot again, and it'll round off. It'll be a little bit
So Clifton is talking with Elena right now about finalizing the shape. So they got a plan on how the piece is going to sit and whether it needs to be wider, and if there are any modifications that need to be made would need to be made right now.
Let's get it hot and then honey it, and it'll blow a hole through the side, switch the axis on it, and then we'll turn it into marine and roll it up. Now, huge boat. Life-size boat.
I think it's good. Looks very elegant right now.
Yeah, really.
We
I'm
started.
interested to see what that color looks like because it looks really nice, all
Yeah.
warm like that though.
Yeah.
It's gonna get a little,
It's gonna get a little bright. It's Mandarin.
it's gonna get brighter. It's not gonna be quite so
bright.
warm.
I know.
That's like the hardest thing is like letting go of that control of like the color.
This thing is gonna be screeching loud color.
Did someone get a?
It's not gonna look like this.
Shut up.
It's okay. It's okay.
If no one Instagrams it, it didn't happen.
One more probably.
All right. So we are getting ready to put it away.
One more flash.
One more flash. All right.
Yeah, it'll be lighter than that. It'll be more on the inside. So on the outside like that. The bottom. And then closer to that on the inside. Yeah. Be pretty loud.
So Clifton is making the final jack line, the final neckline for breaking this piece off. He's going to take a final flash. And then we can see that Kevin over there has started getting suited up. He's got a face shield, as well as some heat gear, so some Kevlar sleeves. And then the little bit of water and a paddle are gonna knock it off.
Your baby.
Once the piece is knocked off, it goes into the annealer, as you can see over there, to cool down. So it'll slowly cool to room temperature overnight. Nice job, Elena. Yeah.
I'm glad we did that. It really got soft close. It was static. It looked like we put some stuff on a bubble. But then when you got it hot and twisted it, it made it a little more like,
This is cool. I really enjoyed this because, we're getting a lot out of it too. We really are. Yeah.
words. Would you like to say some parting words with Elena?
Yes, Elena, it's been a pleasure, and thank you all for tuning in to our gallery night presentation of our non-glass artist in residency program. If you're an artist out there and you'd like to participate, go to our website. You can apply, you can submit imagery, you can submit an idea, and we will review them and select artists just like Elena to come in and to take some workshops, to learn about this process, and then to translate your concepts into this material. So thank you.
Yeah,
That was
thank
a
you.
wonderful experience for the entire team. I'm thrilled that this is a funded program at Seneca Studios, and I want to thank the Arts Council of Fort Worth. I want to thank the Texas Commission on the Arts. I want to thank the Ann L. and Carol Green Rhodes Charitable Trust, to the J.E.S. Edwards Foundation. Really appreciate the support out there, and everybody out there who's watching who's ever donated or taken a class here. We are doing some really great things, as she can attest to. I think that we're making some great progress in this community and engaging local artists. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elena.
It was an experience of a lifetime. Very exciting.
Awesome. Thanks for watching, everybody. Tune in the second Friday of every month. Go to our website and check out the different classes. And come up here sometime. Just check out the gallery. There's lots to see.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, you guys. Good night.